Good afternoon, friends. This is a wonderful platform in Wikipedia pages that I found, regarding the meta-analysis. It gives you a crisp and a very neat introduction to what exactly do we mean by meta-analysis. So I thought, rather than reading the entire thing and before entering and giving, some of the individuals really wanted to know do we mean by meta-analysis and what all topics are associated with it. So very quickly here they have given you, I've taken out, open the Wikipedia page, and here you will see that yes, they have given you a very neat definition that yes, it is the statistical analysis that combines the results of multiple scientific studies. Now, when we talk about scientific studies, they are not just focusing exclusively for medicine or psychology or alternative, what do you call them, alternative medicine department, or astronomy, physics, all those kind of stuff. They are not talking anything that falls under the category of scientific studies. They are talking. So this includes our management studies as well as the other humanities and even the social art departments also. And I'll show you some of very good papers that have been written using this particular technique in almost all the domains of the knowledge. Now, here you will see that meta-analysis can be performed when there are multiple scientific studies addressing the same question. Now, first of all, we need to understand what is our basic research question. Now, try to understand here. It doesn't mean that if I am taking up one particular topic, it has to be exactly in the same manner. No, meta-analysis that is not feasible. So you will have to see surrounding that particular thing. This is what we call it as the question-centric way of searching a topic also certain times. And later on, in one of the qualitative analysis mode that we call it as the network analysis, I'll show you, if you have based a word or a question or a sentence or a statement in one circle, what all things can be associated with it and what kind of a network can be formed. It's similar to the, this is one of the techniques that we use in AI modeling, especially. And if you have seen Salesforce AI, how well it works, it's exactly the same thing that you have to understand here also. And we will see later on as to how to carry on forward. Now, with each individual study, reporting measurements that are expected to have some degree of error. So you will see errors are always present, and that is the reason why towards the end of the research paper, most of the scholars or the authors, who are aware of this fact, simply write it down that yes, it has got further scope. I'll show you those papers. It's not, that broad areas, broad scopes that yes, they say, ki, okay, you have done here, it should be done. No, I'm talking about the biasness, and you will see in some places, these kind of things are also available. After that, then we will be seeing as to what would be the estimated things that they're talking about, weighted averages in the individual studies and all the. And so remember that when we are talking about meta-analysis, again, there are two ways to go further and learn about it. One is the qualitative way of doing meta-analysis. It can be done through text mining, or text analysis, or you can even go ahead with narrative analysis. So all those things are different ones, and they also fall into the category of qualitative meta-analysis, which we will see later on. However, if I focus right now on the quantitative side of it, so why I'm telling you is that meta-analysis, when you're classifying it into two varieties, you will see that all the psychology, medicine, when they started off doing the meta-analysis, before they can even go ahead with the calculation of the power, or what we call it as the effectiveness between the variable, they wanted to find out and see about the variables or the final codes or memes, which we call it as, in qualitative analysis also. It is from there they have to start off and see whether there is some kind of a relationship existing, some kind of a power that you're going to talk, or what they even call it as the strength. So these are the other words that you can see in some of the papers also, and we will have a look. So I'm not going to read the entire thing out here. However, However, you can proceed further and you can start, reading. One example that I would love to take it up is that regarding the publication biasness. Now, sometimes you will see that yes, when I'm performing a meta-analysis, I as an individual can see the effect of the results, including deciding how to search for the studies, selecting studies based on a set of objective criteria. Now, usually what happens is that people who are not aware, who are very naive and innocent with respect to meta-analysis, they make the models beforehand and then they say, okay, these are my variables. However, for me, it's the other way around. I would say, first of all, start off with the reviews of the previous, publications which are available, and start looking for it, whether those things are available for us or they are not available. In that manner, you will be able to even come up later on what we call it as the gaps also. So here, on a set of the objective criteria, dealing with the incomplete data. So my data which is incomplete one, that also you're going to highlight it. Then analyzing the data, accounting for or choosing not to account for the publication bias. So we will see later on in majority of the publications, when you are looking into those previous studies or the prior writings of the various authors, you will see that yes, there are certain publication biasness. On one side, they say that yes, we are directly involved into the experiences of this particular ethnographic study. However, I see that it's not direct experience, it is more of an observant. He is taking up the role of that, or it is a combination of both direct and what do you call it, a direct experience, as well as, when I say direct experience, that is involving yourself into that particular study. Okay, and plus you are a participant also. That means that this is equivalent to what? Participation plus the observing factors together, these things. And that's the reason why I said, when you are going to take up certain qualitative analysis, you need to be very careful while moving before to the quantitative arena. If you're taking up both of them, if you're doing purely quantitative, then those questions does not arise. Then you will have to focus and see what is your publication bias, how many papers you have taken, and what kind of a biasness is there in your own selection. Did you cover the entire publication, or you selected on your own also, that yes, this gives me this is quite useful to my paper, so I'm going to study this is not very useful. No, who told you that? You need to cover the entire range, and within that, from that range, you need to go further. The judgment calls made in completing meta-analysis may affect the results also, and that's why they say sometimes if you're taking up your personal judgment over here, then the entire thing goes away into the toss, I would say. For example, Venus and colleagues examined 4 pairs of meta-analysis on the 4 topics. Now, this usually happens, when I'm selecting the variables. Now, the question arises, how can I select the variables before I can even start off with my reviews? I haven't even done. So, how can I talk just because I have worked out? No, you will have to understand this thing also side by side. For example, job performance and satisfaction relationship, realistic job reviews, correlates of role conflict and ambiguity, job satisfaction and absenteeism relationship, and illustrated how various judgment calls made by the researchers produced different results. So you see, meta-analysis, I cannot decide beforehand that okay, I'm doing this study because I want this thing. No, I need to have that kind of a patience. I need to complete at least 100, 500, 1000 papers minimum, I'm talking about, before I can come over and say that okay, this is what they have said, now I need to move in this direction. And that's the reason, the better part is that when you are doing your MPhil, rather than immediately after your PG, if you're jumping for your PhD, it's gone totally. Then you will not be able to understand. So when you're doing your MPhil, the dissertation period, I would say, you are putting in an effort, investing that extra 1.5 year. Now that is the one reason why in many universities, if they are taking and giving the admission to the PG students directly into PhD, then they would advise them, least spend 1.5 year as your foundation studies or whatever, so that you are able to focus on the research that has been done, or the publications which have been published earlier also side by side. So these are certain things that you need to remember. Meta-analysis, important components of the systematic review. I'm not entering into it. Collaboration, Cochrane collaboration, definitely yes, they have discussed a lot. And in fact, it was the Cochrane collaboration itself who was the first, I should say, team which started off. And if you will pick up their handbook, and you will see that the manner in which they are discussing about the entire meta-analysis, and that also takes some time. It's not that in 1 or 2 sessions you'll be able to complete with your meta-analysis. So here, meta-analysis turns out to be a secondary source of our studies basically. Now here you can see, now I'm entering directly, I'm just leaving the history. The history part is also very good. Now this one goes about 17th century studies of astronomy, and that was the paper published in 1904. So imagine, 1904 the paper was published, and that was none other than by our great Carl Pearson in the British Medical Journal. Okay, and wherein he collated data from several studies on typhoid inoculations, and then he started off with the meta-analytical approach to understand the aggregate the outcomes of the multiple clinical studies that are available for him. And then the extra things are all history. You can read it on your own about this advantages. I'm not going to read line by line. However, the bullet points I'm going to specify. Results can be generalized to a larger population. Then precision and accuracy of estimates are always there, and that's the reason this may increase the statistical power to detect an effect. Whether effect is always present between those variables can be observed through the power, and this power can be understood only when you are understanding the precision and accuracy of the estimates which are present over there. And if they are not, then you need to do something to improve them. So this is how the entire cycle is present for us. And then the third point is that inconsistency, which we can find it out across the studies. This can be quantified. That means a number can be given to it, and then you can further analyze it. Now consistency may arise due to sampling error. Now usually maximum of the times it goes into this area only. Study results influenced by differences between the study protocols. Now here you will see later on in one of the things, especially in Cochrane collaboration, the first important thing immediately after keying your text data is talking about the protocols. And you will see this is the main thing which everybody across the domains, when they are doing the meta-analysis, focus more on this. Then hypothesis testing can be applied on summary estimates. Now once you have entered, we will see what these are. Then moderators can be included to explain the variations. So you can see what kind of moderators are available, and how are they same for all the studies, or they are differing from one area to the other area, is something that you will have to see. The presence of the publication biasness also one needs to investigate. Now steps, now this is very important for us to understand. Formulation of the research question. Now first and foremost, this is very important as to what we are finding, and this depends upon they use Cochrane collaboration. They focus more on PICO model, that is PICO, which stands for population, intervention, comparison, and then outcome. What is population? The entire prior studies that we have taken up. So what all things are they covering? You need to understand that. Intervention, because they are focusing more on medicine, so they are talking about the intervention studies more and more. However, we can go ahead and we can study as per our domains, and then we are able to understand. Now comparison here for them, it would be what was previous and what happened later on. In the same manner, when we are doing our studies, we have to see first of all what happened during this particular time, and later on how these systems were changing. For example, if I'm studying law, management, and let's say sociology. Now sociology is directly associated with the society, so is management, so is law. So how are we going to study? Now for example, if I take it up, let's say something which is directly connected to the society, society, the status of the senior citizen. How does the is there anything that the management is doing? I'm talking of the management studies. Are they focusing on the senior citizens? Like in Australia, I see that they're not only focusing on the senior citizens, they're also focusing on the pet animals. Okay. Now, for example, if I'm purchasing a property in Australia, it is along with the property they are asking us now. Is it focusing basically exclusively on the youth, or are they focusing exclusively on the younger couples basically, or millennial couples are they focusing, or they're focusing even on senior citizens also? So they have given these options that yes, okay, when you purchase this one, along with this property we are able to provide you these are the pet categories. So which one do you like it? So for example, if I want to settle down in Australia, and I have seen that let's say my favorite area is Melbourne, okay, or in Victoria. Now once I go there and I select a property of mine, I've seen that which is missing in other countries. Why? They were not focusing on the pet animals or the senior citizens at all, whereas there they are giving it. And pet animals also does not mean that they are looking very good or they bonny kind of an animals right at the young age. They're talking even about the senior dogs also side by side. So there are certain things which we need to see these things and even understand. So the population, so what is happening before the property is bought, what is these are my ideas, and once I purchase the property, I get the animal with me or a senior citizen, I'm staying with them. So what exactly is happening, so how the effect the entire thing. So these are the things that they're going to compare and see, and what are finally the results of it. Results, I'm not talking about the final results, I'm talking about as per the intervention, what was previous and what was after. Search of literature, definitely yes, we need to do the reviews, pick up the previous studies from the relevant areas and start off. Selection of studies, which we call it as the incorporation criteria. Now this depends upon the based on the quality criteria. That means example, the requirement of randomization. Okay, now they are focusing more on Cochrane collaboration, so here I will not take it up. Now based on quality criteria would be what things did I thought about. Now, are they matching in those papers or they are not? If they are not, for example, if I had discussed about, let's say, my caring attitude towards pet animals. Okay, so here it is. Now, what happens when animals are in circus? Is the same criteria being applied for caring towards those animals in circus? Now, what happens to the animals in zoos? Now, especially if I take it up, animals even at home. For example, I belong to a very poor family, let's say. Now these I'm talking about the nomadic people who the once you call it as banjaras, they're moving from place to place, and they have got let's say camels, they have got sheep with them. And I keep wondering, these banjaras, they are moving nomads. When you go to Jammu area, you will see a lot of them moving from one place, they are not, and along with them the animals are also moving. So how are they able to take care? So is that caring equivalent to the caring of the pet animal that I do it at my home? Because at my place, when I'm taking my food, especially let's say lunch or dinner, okay, now we sit on floor, okay, so it goes like this, that me, my mom, my dad, we are sitting. Now my dad, because I'm a South Indian, we usually have khana in not in this crockery, however in the steel plates. We have that proper thalis, now I'm sitting and taking care of it. And now my animal, my pet dogs were also given this habit by my father, that they should not eat something in a separate bowl, because we're treating them as our family member. So a special thali has been taken care, steel ki thali again has been purchased, two different ones, and they also sit near us, and they are also eating in the same manner. So you see, we are not differentiating them from human beings and animals. We have given them the equal treatment. So how those things are taking place from house to house, or from society to society, I would say. Like in some families, I see that they hit the animals with the even the pet animals with their legs. In my house, if my father, especially my dad, if he looks into it, that yes, I have given a nice pampering with the feet to my dogs also, he may not like it at all. He says no, if they are your family members, if I do that same to you, how would you feel? So you see, that kind of a things are taking place, and that's what I would say is the quality criteria criteria that you need to understand. So here comes this one, the selection of specific studies on a well specified subject. So we need to understand, okay, I'm talking about the pet animals in what category. So immediately it should hit your mind, okay, this I should be taking care. Decide whether unpublished studies are included to avoid publication biasness. Now here, whether the gray literature, that's why we always say, in order to avoid the file drawer problem or the publication bias, we need to include some kind of gray literature also. And this gray literature can be in the form of the papers which have been selected, however they are not yet published. Okay, that can be one version. The other version would be, yes, you have written some papers but you have not given away to somebody to publish them. All right, now other category would be that yes, it is still in the thought process, however I have not yet jotted down in the format of the black and white format, I have not yet taken care of. So how are you going to decide that yes, can I take it, or am I keeping it that yes, I have thought about it, however it is not published and these ideas are not there, therefore I'm not able to take care of them. So these are certain things that you need to be very careful. Decide which dependent variables or summary measures are allowed. For instance, when considering a meta-analysis of published aggregate data, differences, means, and we will see now these are certain things that require some time. It's not that just like that we will be able to understand. We will have to go forward, and in here I would say that there are differences are coming in, and I think Andy Field and there were others who have given us different formats, so we will see what those are and how to go further into it. The fifth point is selection of meta-analysis model. Example, fixed effect or random effect meta-analysis. Now this comes only after you have completed your review, so from there we will have to see whether it is going to be a fixed one. Now depending upon the data that I have taken up, we need to focus on these things also. Then comes examine sources of between study heterogeneity. Example, using subgroup analysis or meta regression. Now regression is there, however we have to proceed further. Now this is another topic which I don't like to use it in a very loose term, so we will have to work on it. Now either we can pick up these things from the Cochrane handbook. So here the link is there, you can just click it, download the book and try to understand, otherwise we will have to go ahead. Then preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, because they prefer that yes, like every scope publication journal, I would say they give their guidelines that yes, we need in so and so format. In the same manner, when you're doing the meta-analysis, there is a format in which you need to follow. Now if you do not follow it, then you'll have to give a reason why you have missed out this particular step. Otherwise it has to be clearly drawn. You just have to copy paste in your Word file wherein you're going to write the entire article or the research paper of yours, and you need to go step by step, and that is called as the prism statement. So if you are in medicine, psychology, alternative medicines, and I have seen even in biotechnology, microbiology, astronomical studies, and to some extent even in aviation studies, if they are doing meta-analysis, they need to sign the prism statement. I'll take you through the prism statement also, and we will see what all things are present and how to understand them if I'm doing it from non-medicine field or non-psychology field. At that time, what are the things that we need to take care? So here are some of the approaches that they have discussed out here, and we will see depending upon various, that's what I said, there are around 8 to 9 forms of it, and we will need to understand each and every approach, and depending upon that our study also goes further. Then we have got the statistical models for the aggregate data. Now direct evidence models incorporating study effects only. So if you are focusing exclusively on the effect, again this depends upon our I should say the previous studies that we are taking it up. If you have taken and you are planning to do it, and if it is just a meta-analysis summary, then you can use the ready-made softwares which are available, and you can instantly go ahead, calculate fixed effects model as well as the random quantum effects model. And we will see these things also matter a lot. It's not, and this is the reason why, when we are doing a full length meta analytic study, then it is not less than a year it takes up, because in order to get and understand these kind of effects, you need some time. And these things needs to be studied one after the other, increasing or decreasing the studies, also the number of papers that you're including in your things. So we will see the live model about it and then understand it. So here, depending upon the different papers, they have started off with these different models which I was talking about. There are around 8 of them. However, we will not do them in depth. The way it was given to me, I'll be sharing it with each one of you so that we are able to understand and proceed further also side by side. So later on, you will see that all these frameworks, these things are available. However, it is not necessary that all these things needs to be present in one paper only. If you are able to do with the ready-made calculators or the softwares which are available, it's well and good, because I'll be taking you through those websites also, wherein you will see they are so good, like the Java platform websites which are present for the software. You just need to enter the data and you will see they give you such a beautiful, awesome, I should say, graphical representations for the power as well as the effect. You can see it all by yourself, that yes, if I insert one study, then what is happening to, what is taking place with the effect or the power, how it is taking place with the red line, you're able to see. Then immediately you are able to understand that, okay, if I remove this, what is happening. In that way, this is going to be a scientific study for you, similar to the one that we do it in the laboratories. So challenges and all I'm not discussing as of now. Now coming to the publication biasness, I'm not going to cover here only. This will be understood more while we are doing a live example, and you will see with your own eyes. Then you will understand that, okay, this is what the publication error is, because it will be showcasing more. Otherwise, the theoretical aspect of it, you can read it all by yourself. Now, problems that here you will see is we will no, I'm not going to cover this one right now. We will do it later, and we will see more and more as to what are the various things. Now here again, applications they have discussed about it. Now apart from the this medicine or the genetical studies, engineering, genetic engineering or biomedical engineering, or you can even go to bioethical labs that they're talking about, cosmetic lab. Instead of all those things, there are other areas like marketing research. It is the new area wherein, and that's why I was more interested in meta-analysis, just to understand. And now with the help of the neural networks that you are coming in using Python or R, you will see that yes, to some extent the studies that have taken up and the kind of the meta-analysis that they are doing with the help of the Python and everything, in order to understand. Even the AI also they have started off doing with these things. So we will see more about them in my other things. Why I wanted to pick up this Wikipedia is that it gives you a picture, number one, then the important readings, because most of the time some of these scholars are just interested to read and the papers which are there. For example, they keep saying, did you publish any papers? Oh my god, academic writings is not just limited to writing papers and get them published in journals. No, I don't believe in that. I believe that yes, if you are doing it, do a live project, do something good to the community. If you are able to do it, go for live projects also. Okay, and not just writing. Yes, seminar, conferences, journals are important part of your academic writing. However, the research projects, then I would say granted projects which are available with the help of some grant, or you have picked up a topic which is associated directly and you're getting a lump sum amount via the various sources, you can do that, and those are also falling under the category of academic writing. So here you will see that some of them are available, and whenever you have the time you can download. Now I have a huge collection of meta-analysis papers which are published exclusively using meta-analysis, and I'll be showcasing referring to them as and when it is coming up for me. So here the external links, this is the reason why I have come back directly. Questionnaire handbook, you should definitely take up. Meta-analysis at 25, some of you who are from the scientific background can definitely have a look at it. Prism statement, preferred reporting items, we will see this one. You can download this also. I'll be discussing it separately. And regarding the softwares, now majority of you, I mean, I'm very comfortable with R, so it does not take much time for me. R as well as Python, and now with Julia, then you have come up with Rust. Orange I haven't seen yet, and even Golang. Now these people have already started using it. Okay, now with minimum number of programming codings and everything, they have stayed off. However, if you are comfortable, R is the best. Python, yes, you can carry forward with them, so and so forth with this one. If you feel that no, we don't have so much of time, we don't even want to boggle our heads with the programming language codes and everything, then you can directly hit yourself with the softwares which are available. In my coming videos, maybe 5 or 6 of them I'm going to showcase to you, and you can carry forward. So I hope this gives you a lucid and clear introduction to meta-analysis from the Wikipedia page. And let me proceed further with the websites wherein you can see those free and open sources in terms of the softwares or the platforms. Web-based, they can be free softwares for us, and we will have a look at them. So I think let me come back again. Till then, thanks and take care. Bye.